Be sure to go to flipsidegaming.com and use promo code 6 for 10% off on orders over $10. You can do the same at the Grizzly Gentleman for some fantastic beard products that'll make your beard look and smell great. You can also go to TCG Player using the affiliate link below and shop there to help support the show. And last but absolutely not least, go to greyvikinggames.com with the link below to get those sweet arena codes. Okay, good job. Good job. I'm trying to record. Hello. What's up, Planeswalkers? Derek's back with some more Mythic or Mystic. Mystake. Dude, the cat's got me all riled, alright? Don't judge me. Anyway, today we're looking at the end of Mirrodin and the heralding in of new Phyrexia. Phyrexia has won over the Mirrans. They are no more. Or are they? Anyway, as usual with Mythic or Mystake, I'll talk about 3 different aspects of a card. That is the complexity, how it affects your deck building. Does it change the rules in any weird way? Does it have a lot of keywords? Does it affect the board state and make it confusing? Does it have any weird costs? Splashiness. What is the size of the card, both in cost and stats? The size of the effect, if it does something just big, I suppose. And then the can you windmill slam it, right? And then it gets some nods for flavor or squareness, which I'll discuss if it comes up. Power, we see, would it be too good at rare and limited? We look at it in EDH, and then we look at how it's been used in other formats. And if I think it's going to be pertinent, I will talk about it in casual. Starting off, we have Karn. Liberated. He's finally freed from the oil or some nonsense because of freaking wizards killing Venser bullshit. I'm not over Venser dying, by the way. Also, they turned him into like a drug addict. I did not like what they did with Venser, like at all. Anyway, Karn. In terms of complexity, doesn't really have a deck building restriction. He's colorless. Forcing players to exile is not really that complex. Restarting the game absolutely is. you get to take their stuff. That said, it is on the ultimate, so we're honestly going to give Karn just a 3 because it's all concentrated, right, in that last thing. But we also obviously do give a bump because it's a Planeswalker. Planeswalker would be weird. Blah blah blah. When it comes to splashiness, the card is a 7 mana 6 loyalty walker with a +4, a -3, and a -14 loyalty effect, loyalty ability in there. That's big for Planeswalkers. That's just like a lot for loyalty. It's pretty big in terms of the effect. You force someone to exile something from their hand. You could just yeet a permanent from existence, and then you restart the fucking game. This easily is windmill slammed. Obviously, it's a little bit more difficult when you just consider the fact that you have to pay 7 for this, typically. But the ability to just play this for 7, exile something, have 3 loyalty left, and potentially just next turn exile something else is a very big impact. There are versions of this card that are affordable? Dang. I remember a time where this card was worth like $50, I think. I think that's what I sold mine at. You can get them now for the low price of $25. Anyway, splashiness, big 4. Easy 4. You know what? 5. Because this also gets a flavor nod. Like, Karn's back. Karn is one of like the old guard in Magic Story. So, you know what? I think we're going to give him a 5 here. The Karn's splashy. Power level. This can be played in any limited deck because it's colorless. Now, I have said that 6, the difference between 6 and 7 is large. I've also said the difference between 7 and 8 is huge. This is not 8 mana. This is 7 mana. This is what I like to call castable. This is something that you can cast, and if you do, in limited, it'll mess up the game. If this were rare, no, thank you. Let's mosey on over to EDH here. 6,000. Nearly 7. Now, you might be saying, that's not a lot. Only 1% and it's colorless. It does cost 7. And you'll see that it has a bit of a theme. Either colorless decks or Planeswalker decks. Or theme decks, I assume. Okay. Give me one moment. I'm just going to start recording videos playing with my cat and putting it on Patreon. Well, that'll hook them in. Anyway, we'll then look at the actual deck. Look, 1,000. Friggin', there's plenty of dual commander. There's also modern, like tons of modern. I want to say this is also played in Legacy. Can you show me a Legacy? Yeah, 2020, 2019, 12 post, Eldrazi Stumpy. I assume this was in Legacy. Can we get Vintage up in here? We can, but that's back in the day, Mud. But yeah, I mean, it's played in a lot of stuff, even to this day. Urzatron is... it's a thing for a reason. Yeah, strong card is strong. Is Karn too good? There was a long time where people were calling for the banning of Karn in Modern. And that is because of the interaction with the Urza lands. Urzatron. It has gotten a little bit... You know what? I think it's gotten a little bit better. I'm going to double check. Okay. According to MTG Goldfish, it's not played nearly as often as it has been in the past. I'll give it a 4. Very obvious Mythic is Mythic. By the way, if there's a different website I should be using to just check like metagame trends, let me know. I only know about MTG Goldfish. I'm just Donkey Kong. Ooh. That was my terrible Donkey Kong impression. Anyway, on to the next one. We have Elish Norn, Grand Cenobite. I need everyone in the comments to tell me which of the Praetors is their favorite. We'll be going through all of them, I think in sequence, actually. Jin... I can't freaking see. Oh, no. There's something between... Oh, yeah, there's something before Sheoldred. Mostly, we'll be going through all of them consecutively. Yeah, you have to tell me your favorite. Or you put them in order, because I'm going to put them in order right now. Elish Norn. Easily. I'm talking about character. If you want to include card, you can. Elish Norn. Jin Gitaxias. Sheoldred. Urabrask. Way down in the dumps is Vorinclex. I don't care for Vorinclex. Anyway, Elish Norn. Deck building. Kinda. Because of her second ability, not just a keyword, because of her second ability, you technically don't need to have a go-wide strategy for this card to still be beneficial. That said, you are going to want to do something along those lines. In terms of board state, she makes board states not confusing, but different. She does impact them. So I guess that's better left off in Splashiness. In terms of complexity, I think she's relatively low. Honestly, it's Vigilance, a buff to your squad, and a detriment to everyone else. Yeah, I'm going to go with the 2. I think 2 is reasonable here. Splashiness. Size, 7 mana, 4/7. She has what everyone has referred to as a fat ass. In Magic the Gathering, if something has a fat ass, then it just means they have a very high toughness. And she absolutely does have a fat ass. Anyway. Turn to the effect. Now, you might think that +2/+2 and -2/-2 are small numbers. Well, that's where you'd be wrong. Technically speaking, this is a 4... It's an 8 power toughness swing if you just have one opponent. Right. Because your stuff is getting +2, or technically +4 total, and they're getting -2, -4 total. So that's a difference, a board state change of 8. That is a large effect, and it affects the squad. Right, it affects everything. Absolutely fantastic. I'm going to give it a little bit on flavor, but this is easy Windmill Slam. We're putting it at 4. Fair. Power level. She does cost 7. She's focused in white, so she is less castable than Karn if she were rare. And I think she would be too good at rare. There are some Praetors that I don't think would be, but I do think she would be. In terms of EDH, 642. Excuse me, that's just her as a commander. What about her as a card? Nearly 29,000. 7% of all decks that can use white. A lot of them obviously will be token. I have her in my Captain's to Say deck because she's great there. Yeah, it's great in token strategies. It's great in Death and Taxes style strategies. It's great. It's just great. Otherwise, a lot of dual commander here. A lot of dual commander. Some legacy down here. Notice these are still in 2021. I can't read right now. But yes, she's played in a lot of Reanimator. She played it all in Modern Reanimator. Devotion to White in 2020. Urzatron, I assume that's in the sideboard in 2020. Gifts, Domination, Storm, a lot from 19s and 18s. So yeah, she has seen play in a number of different situations. Easy 4 in my opinion. Easy Mythic in my opinion. Moving on. Jin Gataxias, my second favorite. I always considered myself a bit of a Jin Gataxias. I'm tall, have a weird effed up ribcage. Technically fat skinny, but you know, still skinny. Dude, look at my skinny twiggly arms. Big creepy hands, and likes to be smart. Technically, I also like to experiment on human subjects. For those who don't know, I have a master's in psychology. I like to experiment on human subjects. Anyway, excuse me, they're participants now. In terms of complexity, cost 10 mana. Cost 10 mana. Technically, you don't have any deck building restrictions with this card, other than the fact that this costs 10 mana. Rules, cost, keywords, board state, not really. Doesn't care about the board. Cares about your hands. And that's a thing, but very not complex. Relatively simple card. In terms of splashiness, size, it costs 10 fucking mana. Additionally, you draw 7 cards. That's a big number. And your opponent's hand size is reduced by 7. Typically 0. Typically it means it's at 0, which typically means they're always going to discard down to 7, under 7. Shut up. Words are hard, all right? Anyway, it also has flash. It's cool. Is it a 4? Is it as splashy as Elish Nord? Yes. It's splashier. It costs more. Lower stats. Similar effect. I'm going to say it's at 4. Power level. This costs 10 mana. At rare, this would not freaking matter. In limited, no one, unless you have reprinted Show and Tell in a limited environment, this card costs 10. Like, no one's casting this card. Maybe in some weird blue-green Simic deck in a format in a limited environment where you have a decent access to ramp. Otherwise, no. EDH 159. Salt high salt score 2.3. 8. As a card, 11,000. Frankly, higher than I expected. 3%, absolutely higher than I expected. Yeah, I mean, card is effed up. And then we have more Reanimator. Legacy. We got some French 1v1, some Legacy going on here. Highlander. I don't see any Grease Reanimator. This is from 2015, which would be... I don't know when that would be. Regardless, it's strong. Not as strong as Elish Nord, but still strong. It's still stronger than something like Glissa. I'm going to give it a very low 4. Because, like, it... I'm gonna give it a low 4. I'm going to give it a low 4. I think a low 4 is deserving of this creepy mythic man who just wants to put his fingers in your brain. I was going to say something different. I am glad that I changed it. Phyrexian Obliterator. Complexity. It's quad black. Deck building restrictions, absolutely. It changes... It doesn't change the rules. What I'm talking about. It fixes the board state, though. It messes up the board state, something fierce. Your opponents no longer want to attack or block. They don't want to. Because the effect of this card is messed up. Whenever source deals combat, source deals damage to it, that source's controller sacrifices that many permanents. Fun fact, that source's controller means that you can get some interesting tricks here and there. If you read the card, you know what the card does, so I'm only going to give it a 3. Nothing super fancy going on. Splashiness. It's quad black pips for a 5/5. I'm giving it size. Effect. Yes. Your opponent just like has to sack stuff. just for touching it. It's great. I love it. Flavor is also quite nice. It is a callback to crap. It's Phyrexian Negator, I think. Phyrexian Negate. Yes, this is a callback back to this. This only a 3 mana cost. Sales Trample, still a 5/5. And then when it's dealt damage, you have to sack that much, which is not great. I will say, one of the things that I'm sad about is that this card says they exist to cease. And I wish this had something similar there. Right? Like, they ceased existence or something like that. I don't know. But I feel like that would have been even cooler of a callback. But regardless, we're going to give it a good old-fashioned 4. Easy 4. Power level. Quad, man. So this is difficult, right? Because it is a 4-mana card. So it's castable. And it's very strong when it's on the board. It dies relatively easily. Like, via just normal removal spells. But that same can be said about most things. But it's quad black. Like, that's a commitment to mono black or very lightly splashing something in limited. Actually, I don't know if you can splash with this card in limited. I think for that reason alone, it would be okay at rare. Maybe. I'm honestly not sure there. When it comes to Edich, nearly 4,000. 1%, we see some horror commander stuff, a lot of kind of black devotion-y things, just mono black kind of all around, really. You gotta essentially have mono black if you're playing with this card. And for decks, we got mono black aggro, Suicide Championship, because of, I think, Historic Anthology. I think that's what the championship was. You saw nothing. Mythic Invitational, Legacy in 2018. Historic, the Open, yeah. I don't think it's played anywhere else now. I don't even know if it's legal in Pioneer. I don't think it is. Let's see. Modern. Last one was 2018. Makes sense. Legacy. Oh, Reanimator in 2021. All right. Dead Guy L in 2018. Sure. There's no way this has ever seen play in Vintage, right? No. Okay, cool. Obliterator is strong. High 3, low 4. Look, if Jink Ataxius deserved to get a 4, I think Phyrexian Obliterator deserves it more. Yeah, I think it deserves it more. And it's still easy Mythic card. Like, this card, it's just horrifying. The art, everything, it's great. It's a really awesome Phyrexian card. Callback as well. Nice. Sheoldred. The Whispering One. So, in terms of complexity, no, I'm not going to do that. In terms of complexity, this card... Swamp Walk is, Land Walk is a thing that we don't get much of anymore, but it's not hard to understand what it is. Doesn't really change your deck building requirements. It does mess with the board state a lot, though. Every turn you get something back from your graveyard. Each of your turns you get something back. Each of your opponent's turns, they just have to sack something. That does really mess with the board. I think she's high 3. I think she's just high 3. I think that's reasonable. Splashiness. 7 mana, 6/6. Size, yes. Effect, yes. As long as one opponent gets to their upkeep, you get like a 2-for-1, right? You play this card, your opponent removes it, and sack a creature. That's a 2-for-1. Obviously, the mana cost is going to be like different. They're probably going to kill this with like a 2-3 mana spell, maybe 4 mana. So there's that. But the chances of getting a good 2-for-1 with this card is awesome. The chance of getting anything higher than that is gravy. So I think that's pretty reasonable. It's still not it's kind of a windmill slam because you don't have to wait the entire turn. So I guess we can get that for impact. Splashiness, oh man. 3 or 4? I'm gonna go with the high 3? I'm gonna go with the high 3. Fun fact though, Sheoldred is actually this. All this spidery stuff. Not technically Sheoldred. Let's see if I can quickly find Sheoldred concept art. Hell yeah, buddy. Thank you. By the way, this will be shocking for most of you. Oh, god damn it. Let me zoom. Zoom. There we go. Ah. God hates me. Yeah, no, but like this technically Sheoldred, it's messed up. It's really, it's gross, to be honest. It's freaking gross. Anyway, in terms of power level, at rare, she costs 7, but she's only double black. I think she'd be too good. EDH, 289 just as herself. However, as a card, nearly, well, not nearly, yeah, she's 26,000. Like, it's a lot. 26,000, 6% of all decks that can use black, absolutely a lot. When it comes to this, we've got some dual commander, a lot of dual commander. I'm seeing Legacy, Reanimator here. Although this is all the way back in 2012. Wow, she really dropped off. My guess is because of Grizzlebrand, honestly. Yeah, that's my guess. Still sees some play in dual commander though. Not terribly high. 4 though. At this point, I'm kind of like baked in to giving all the Praetors 4s. Maybe we'll see. But yeah, easy mythic is easy. Urbrask. Speak of the devil. Fun fact. For those of you who know the card Atraxa, you can see I've been searching for it relatively recently. For those of you who know the card Atraxa, you'll see that it's a green, white, blue, and black card. Doesn't have any red in it. Why is that? Well, it's because Atraxa was created by the combined efforts of Elish Norn, Jingataxis, Sheoldred, and Vorinclex. Urbrask wanted nothing to do with this. Do you know why? Because Urbrask does not care about completing all of the other Mirrans. He does not care about the war. He just wants to create and destroy in his furnace with his pals. That's it. With his breed of Phyrexian, with the Reds. He gave the Mirrans a sanctuary and told his people to leave them alone. If they leave you alone, leave them alone. Don't bother them. They won't bother us. Urbrask is the only chill planeswalker, or only chill praetor, and it makes sense because red is the color often of freedom, right? Of doing your own thing, right? Not to the point of selfishness, but just doing what you want and not caring about others, like being there and doing their own thing, right? So Urbrask, absolutely the kindest of the praetors. Does that translate to a good mythic? We'll find out. Complexity. Gives all your creatures haste, makes it so your opponent's creatures come and tap. Not terribly complex, but giving it a 2. Splashiness. 5 mana 4/4, a little bit on the low end in terms of size. Effect. It does give all of your creatures haste and force all your opponent's creatures to come and tapped, which means that your creatures with haste are probably going to be getting through. Decent effect. Has an immediate impact because it itself has haste. Flavor. There's another part of the flavor, obviously. Oh, I'm dumb. I literally just... The Furnace Dwellers looked to Urbrask for guidance. His decree stunned the others. Let them be. Yeah, he literally just like, leave him alone. Like, I don't care. And I love that. I absolutely love that. I would love if when we eventually return to new Phyrexia 2 Electric Boogaloo, that we see Urbrask has just gotten fed up with the encroachment of like the other Praetors and has decided to kind of like join the rebels and be like, look, I'm not going to turn you complete. If we win, I get the entire furnace level, and then you all get like the surface. I would love if that were the case. It would be another like red hero, kind of like Hazaret had, but still like that. It's fun. Anyway, another interesting potential lore bit is this probably is a dragon, a furnace dragon from Mirrodin, just because of what these kind of wing-like things look like. So I'll show you furnace. Well, I think is what it's called. No, not you. You keep it. Come on. Furnace. They have these weird like jetpack arms. The dragons of Mirrodin have weird like jetpacky arms. I cannot think of another freaking. Okay, here. Set. And, well, MBS. And then just T. Nope. Dragon. Yeah, okay, see. It's got like, it's just rocket propelled, right? They don't really have normal wings. So this kind of looks like the rocket propulsion parts, but you know, also has a tail. It's kind of up in the air, but you know, I wanted to point that out. One of the parts of these videos that I enjoy is just talking about tidbits about the old mythics and stuff. Anyway, in terms of splashiness, we'll give them a 3. Give them a 4. I think Urbrask deserves a 4. Power level. At rare, this card would be stupid good. It would literally be a 5/5 or a 5-mana 4/4 with haste that gives your other stuff haste and makes your opponent die. Right. Only 127, but as a card, only 8,000. I thought this number would be higher, to be honest, because it just gives all your stuff haste and it makes all your opponent's stuff come untapped. 2% is still not bad. You know, 8,000 is still like not bad. But I expect it to be higher. And we get over here to this. We've got some. Oh, this makes me sad actually. So we have some Keswick Titan back in what I believe is standard. Red deck wins, some pod. Yeah, this is all like standard stuff. And then we have one thing in 2022 for Primal Storm, and one appearance in Mono Green Titan. By the way, I'm very sad, Urbrask, because I think I gotta give you a 3. I think I gotta give you a 3. Now, still mythic, but a lot of the mythicness is riding on the fact that, in terms of the story, Urbrask is the GOAT. Or the dragon, depends on how you look at his shoulders. On to the next Predator, Vorinclex, the voice of complexity. Absolutely. It doubles your mana production, but more importantly, it freezes your opponent's lands. Technically, it doesn't freeze them when they do other things. So, you know, your opponent taps their Maze of Ith or something to tap something down. They tap the Rishon Import to tap something down, right? Those still get to untap normally. But when they tap, and for what's what, that adds to the complexity of it. But, you know, it taps things down. It also doubles your mana. High 3. I don't think it deserves a 4. Because again, like, you can read the card, you know what it does. You just hate what it does. Splashiness. Size. Yes. In spades. 8 mana 7/6. It's big. Effect. Yes. In spades. The turn that you cast this, you're probably not going to get much benefit out of its first ability. Your opponents are going to get boned, though. And what's nuts about this card is that typically, if you're playing an EDH, someone will bite the bullet and lose out on mana to kill this card, and everyone else is essentially like fine, right? So one of the issue with killing this card in a multiplayer format is like you have to lose out on that mana, essentially double whatever the cost of your kill spell is, and you have to make sure that everyone knows, hey, I'm doing a solid for the entire table. Give me some slack, right? For like a turn or two. And if you're playing with people who don't give a crap, then you're probably not going to be the one to do it, unless you really need the mana or whatever. And then you are probably going to be in a situation where the Vorinclex just stays on the board, helping the green player, because people refuse to take deals. Anyway, impact is huge. It's technically immediate. You know, your opponent is like, as soon as this hits the board, when your opponent like has an option to do with this other than when it's on the stack, then they're affected by this. It's great. Also, gross. I gotta say, Vorinclex is the most disgusting. Like, Elish Norn, literally, covered in like this weird sinewy blood stuff. Vorinclex, though, is dripping. Ew. Just ew. Anyway, it's a 4 on Splashy. Is it a 5 on Splashy? Is it splashier than like all of the other ones? I would say that this card's effect is bigger than all of the other Praetor effects. I'm going to give it a low 5. I'm going to give it a low 5. Power level. It costs 8 mana. So I'm going to say that probably would be fine in limited just for that reason. EDH, 123. Look at that salt rating, baby. 2.75. What did Jin have? Jin had 2.38. This is 2.75. When it comes to being a card, it's in 12,450 too many decks. It's played. It's played because green just likes getting big, dumb green things out, and this makes bigger, dumber, greener things. That said, luckily, not a ton of nonsense going on here. We got some Kestis Titan, just like it's his little brother. Mael and some dual commander here. Commander, and then dual commander. Right. Luckily, not a lot of stuff there. That said, in EDH, in just EDH, at this card. Is that fair? Is that fair? I hate this card. I will be honest. I hate this card. I loathe it. Is it fair? No, it's not. It's not. It's not. It's just not fair for me to give this a 5 and say that it's like 5 for power level is technically a bad thing. It's not fair for me to do that. So I'll give it a 4. But it cannot sit at my table. It's Mythic and a Mystake. It gets the treatment of Jake from State Farm. It's both a Mythic and a Mystake. And my reasoning essentially is I hate mana doublers. Fight me. Like, I hate mana doublers. I hate spells that make us. I don't like when you can't play the game. I hate when people like just ramp. Look, I'm gonna go on a very mini rant here. I loathe when people go like ramp. I win the game. That's not fun. That's not engaging. That's not interactive. I want to play a game with people. If I wanted to play Go Fish, I'd play Goldfish. Although technically Go Fish, that's dumb. If I wanted to play Solitaire, I'd play Solitaire. I'd actually probably just play a crossword puzzle or something. Regardless, I freaking hate that. So in some of my decks that are meant to be a little stronger, I have mass land destruction. Fight me. I don't use it as the mass land destruction very frequently. Unless someone literally goes ramp for the first like 4 or 5 turns, and I'm going to be like, alright, I have literally half as much mana as you. I have a board because I've been playing cards, artifacts, enchantments, creatures, planeswalkers. You don't, essentially. I'm blowing up your lands. I'm doing it. I hate you. Anyway, sorry about that. Batterskull. This card is weird. It is a living weapon, so in terms of complexity, it's a bit strange, right? Because it comes in, created to a thing, and immediately attached to it. Because if it wasn't immediately attached to it, as a part of the living weapon ability, it would be a 0/0 creature that just dies to state-based actions. Luckily, you don't have to deal with that. It can also return itself back to its owner's hand, which is not something that you'll see very often on equipment, so complexity is decent here. I'll give it a 3. I think 3 is reasonable here. In terms of the splashiness size, yeah, I think it's reasonable. 5 mana is a decently high cost for an equipment, and the fact that it comes in with a creature already is quite nice. So you can actually windmill slam this, right? You can windmill some things like Ember Skull, Ember Cleave. I don't want to see Ember Skull if we go back to Phyrexia. Freaking just like Rowan takes the Ember Cleave with her to help Karn, and the Phyrexians get a hold of it and just put a germ on it. Ember Skull, the new bane of the world. No. You know, some of those things immediately equip. Those types of things do have that windmill slamming ability, but the fact that this also has lifelink means that this can get you out of jams, so it's even more of that kind of impact type stuff. Speaking of impact, it's called a Batter Skull, and I think that's hilarious. It's just freaking like centipede equipment with a little dude, a little gross germ creature, piloting it. It's great. I love it. 3 for splashiness, I think. Mid 3. I don't think a high 3, but mid 3. In terms of power level, do not put this at rare. It will be opened way too often. Like 5 mana for this, 5 mana for a 4/4 vigilance and lifelink instead of like otherwise it'd be a flying lifelinker, right? Like it would just be an angel. The difference is like the creature technically not a part of this, right? They can use a kill spell on the germ, and you still have an equipment to put on something, or you can just bounce it back to your hand and recast it if like you don't have any other creatures, right? So it good there. In terms of EDH, nearly 5,000. I'm dying. Mostly for token, interesting, but mostly for equipment decks. Stoneblade. I believe this is death. This is Legacy. Yep, Legacy. Maverick, Stoneblade, Death and Taxes, Urzatron. That's modern. Death and Taxes, Death and Taxes. This might be modern Death and Taxes, actually. Legacy. French 1v1. Yeah, I mean, this is all... This and up are 2022. Batter Skull hits. Batter Skull absolutely hits, and absolute mythic. Easy mythic in my opinion. Next is something that we haven't seen in a while. We have a bad card. Ed's Monstrosity is kind of complex, kinda. You have the deck building of like you kind of need 5 colors, otherwise this is not a great card. It's essentially a 10 mana 10/10 that draws 3 cards, but you can put that across different pavements, but the first has to be like a certain thing. The card that this is like riffing on is Etched Oracle, I want to say. Yes, Etched Oracle. So this is Sunburst, so you can like pay any number of colors and then like remove 4 counters on this. Obviously 4 is like the highest number of colors you can cast for this, and then boom, you get to draw 3 cards. Like, oh wow, this is like a way bigger version. The issue though is that this card is worse. It's just like, whatever. I shouldn't get there. Shouldn't get ahead of me. I'll give it a 3 for complexity. I think that's reasonable. Splashiness. It's a 5 mana 10/10, kinda. So I will give it points for size. The ability to draw 3 cards is nice. A lot of 5s and 10s, so I'll give it a little nod for squareness. When it comes to power level, though, it's not great. 5 mana 5/5 by itself in limited. It'll be a role player, I think. You know, it's something that you can take if you really need it, but if it's a mythic, you're going to be upset that you opened this instead of like one of the Praetors, for example. In terms of EDH, some 300 decks. Obviously, it can't be put into that many decks, but still not really put into a lot of decks. Oof. Yeah, this card's not good. It's I don't know how to describe why this card is so bad. Because on the surface, it looks calm and ready. Like, technically speaking, you have access to Proliferate in this format, so you can add more negative counters in order to draw more over time. Technically speaking, it's a 5 mana card that you can put 5 in at a later date, at instant speed, and have a player draw 3. Doesn't have to be yourself, right? But at the same time, it's just not good. It's not good. Last but not least, we have Sword of War and Peace, the last of the 3 Mirrodin swords. at this point. Complexity, just like the other swords, pretty complex. It has pro red white. That's a relatively complex thing. And of course, this one, you get to gain 1 for each life in your hand and deals damage to the player that you hit. So, 3. I think it's reasonable. I don't think it's terribly complex, but it's not complex, Splashiness. It's a sword. The effect on this one is variable. It's entirely variable, right? With Feast and Famine, I mentioned that the untapped lands is variable. But it's less variable than this, right? Because not only does it matter how many cards you have in your hands, it matters how many cards your opponent has in their hand. Which means that it's going to be very variable. We're just going to give it a 3. Power level. Don't put this at rare. It would make me sad. It's 8,000. It's in Dao-Chan because it does cool things with Dao-Chan, which is, cool. Cool. It's nice with this card because it's a deck that wants your opponent to have a lot of cards in hand. Okay, sure. A lot of enchantment decks. Yeah, okay. Reasonable. Pyrrhus Paladin in Modern 2021. A lot of it. My guess is it's a sideboard card for control. Yep, War and Peace. My guess, sideboard card. I don't remember when this was printed. Oh, right, of course. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot of Death in Texas. There's some Legacy down here from 2018. More Legacy. It was in Painters there. Has had a 2019 appearance at First in a French 1v1. Double Master Sealed with a 1st and a 4th. It's reasonable, actually. It's high 3. We're going to give it a high 3. And we're going to get a Mythic. I think it's totally reasonable to give this thing a Mythic. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, that brings us to the end of another Mythic or Mystake episode. Let me know what your favorite Praetor is, or you can just put them in your order. You can do this by the character, or you can do it by the card. Either way is fine with me. I'm just very curious. I'd like to thank my lovely patrons for the continued support. If you'd like to join them and support the show, you'll find links down in the description below. Do, of course, hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, and until next time, well, all will be one.